You may remember that in the previous video, I said this. I strongly recommend you download the softwares PKHex and the Universal Pokemon Randomizer. Well, while those two softwares I mentioned are definitely important, they are far from the only ones you'll need. It's time for a comprehensive list. Let's do this. Right off the bat, you of course need to play the game itself. If you play the game on official hardware, I have nothing but respect for it. That's expensive, time-consuming, and hard to record. Yeah, that's gonna be a no from me, thanks. I plan an emulator, and if you think that emulating games that were released decades ago when the game companies are making no effort to preserve is wrong, then this video is not right for you. It's only gonna get worse from here. Now, there are many emulators that you might want to use, depending on what system you have. I've heard that OpenEMU for Mac is good, but I use Windows products, don't at me. I've heard that Citra is a good 3DS emulator, but I have a 3DS, so I don't emulate that. Here's my advice on emulators. Visual Boy Advance for GBA, BGB for Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and Desmumi for DS. I've used all of those for a long time, you shouldn't get a virus from them or anything. You also need ROMs to use those emulators, but while there's links to all this other stuff, I'm not going to link you to a ROM. There's a ton of legally questionable stuff going on there, so for a ROM, just Google insert game here, ROM, and you should be able to find it. I have a video up in the top right hand corner for exactly what game to pick to be your first Nuzlocke, so watch that when you finish this one. Once you've gotten your emulator and your ROM, the first thing you want to do is use an Alakazam, or a Golem, or any Trade Evolution, really. If this is actually what you want, like me, then the next software you need is one that I actually did tell you about in the previous video. The Universal Pokemon Randomizer. As soon as you boot it up, you're greeted to this screen that I admit can be daunting at a first glance. When you're in this, you need to hit the Open ROM button and select a ROM. For this example, I'm going to be using Pokemon Emerald. Open up the folder. Oh, yeah, I guess you also need 7-zip to unzip the ROMs, lol. And go down to the Pokemon Evolutions. You should be able to see a checkbox titled Change Impossible Evos. Click this. This changes all Trade Evolutions to level ups. The Universal Pokemon Randomizer has a list on their website of all the Pokemon that have Trade Evolutions chained with this. Even if you say that using things like rare candies are cheap, I don't think anyone will try to argue that the game is improved by having several rare, strong, awesome Pokemon be locked behind a feature that you're unable to use. You can use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to, as the name implies, randomize, but randomizers suck, man. All they end up being is, yo, I caught a legendary, now I just have to beast through this whole game, or, how does the first gem have a Rayquaza, now I'm gonna freaking lose. I only use this thing for Trade Evolutions and changing starters and challenge runs. Now that you've gotten all your runs set up, you're done, right? Wrong. That is, unless your idea of a good time is spending hours and hours grinding before every major fight to make sure you don't lose. That's why you need our next tool, PKHex. PKHex is, to put it simply, a hacking software. It lets you see and change your bag, PC box, and Pokemon stats. If you really want, you could just hack in a level 100 Mewtwo with 6 perfect IVs and demolish the game. I don't encourage you to do that. That's just boring. What I do encourage, however, is altering your bag to give yourself so many rare candies that you never need to grind again. I also encourage you to use this to see, not change, just see, your EVs and IVs, which in the real game you can't do until you get to the game's battle facility. This is very important for our next piece of software, Smackdown's damage calculator. Okay, so maybe this one's not technically software itself, since you use it within your browser, but my point still stands. You can do all the grinding, or rare candying, you want, but unless your team is so over-leveled that you can one-shot every Pokemon on the enemy team, you need to plan. Fiddle with this software. What I suggest you do is go to the gen you're playing in, then head back to PKHex. One thing I didn't mention about that software is that you can export Pokemon into text files that Smackdown can use. Hit Tools, go to Showdown, and click Export Set to Clipboard. You can then paste that exact Pokemon into the damage calc and figure out damage with it. I could go on explaining this, but that would be boring, none of you need to see that. So, you've gotten all this software. What more could you need? Well, I'll tell you what. you need to see this video right here about picking the right game for your Nuzlocke. Have fun!